Hey, how you doing? My name is Ryan, and today I'm reviewing and hopefully fixing the 2025 LEGO Iron Man Laboratory Hall of Armor. This is the fourth Iron Man Armory style set since 2019, averaging one every 1.5 years. It comes with 5 figures, 1 large Igor suit, and retails for $55. So the question is this new Armory worth it, or is it yet another tally in the reasons LEGO Marvel is dead count? Let's start by talking about the build itself. As mentioned, this is yet another Iron Man Hall of Armors, another Armory, and by the fourth go-around, the structure is pretty familiar and rather basic. You build multiple identical pods that can clip together and display a Tony Stark suit, with the only real difference being some minor cosmetic tweaks on the pod itself and the placement and sticker itself on the back of the translucent blue sheet. In fact, if I blurred the stickers on these two builds, I'm not sure you'd be able to tell which one came from 2022's Armory and which one comes from this new one. But of course there is an upside to these pods being so identical. They can very easily clip together and you can combine sets. So again, back to these two pods, the one on the left comes from 2022, the one on the right comes from this year, and they clip together really easily. Although if you look closely at these two builds, they're not identical, so it kind of makes this Armory feel more like a hodgepodge if you combine all these together. The placement of the blue sheet, the builds on top, the way that the pods are structured, they're similar enough to clip together, but not identical enough to feel cohesive when you combine them all together into one big piece. Yes, I'm aware that's a minor nitpick, but if you look at the way the designers make these sets and the way they keep pumping them out, again, one every 1.5 years, it's clear they want you to combine all of them together, so the fact they don't look as clean as they probably should is a bit of a letdown. Mini Superheroes Today has a very nice video showcasing all the armories together if you're curious, and while I have to admit the giant build does look rather nice, I do have to wonder if it would have been better to have one giant build like Tony's Malibu Mansion with a large armory underneath as opposed to being drip-fed small armory builds every 1.5 years. Now, if the goal was to make 3 different armory sets, each one based on an Iron Man movie with some representative suits, that would be a unique gimmick, and with all 3, you'd have a nice Iron Man display. But I think the additional builds included in each set makes these armories feel kind of redundant and repetitive. We end up with another center platform with robotic arms, another dummy, another workstation. It's all builds we've seen before. There are some nice decals for the Mark 42, Mark 6, and Mark 46, but we've seen those styles of decals before. There is, however, one new sticker that I have not seen in a previous Armory set, and that's this funky arc reactor print. It looks a bit incomplete, but if you move the slider at the right speed, all of these horizontal lines appear to animate the arc reactor sticker. It's a rather clever effect, and I would love to see more optical illusions like this in more LEGO sets. That being said, I'm not sure a new illusion sticker would be that much of a selling point. So what's new with this Armory set? Why make it? Well, for one, LEGO did give us a brand new Igor build, and it's hit and miss. I enjoy the position of the head being so far forward, allowing the suit to carry the heavy weight on its back. The designers also added these 2 ingots on the very top of the Igor build to make it easier to hold and carry things with a flat surface. The printed head plate is a great touch, and people who aren't the best at stickers will appreciate this detail. The arms are well built and powerful looking, but the legs are a bit smaller and weak looking. The Igor suit has equally sized limbs in the movie, so the disproportionate arms and legs feel a bit off. I'm also a bit mixed on the open hatch concept because I'm not sure Igor was supposed to be a Hulkbuster, at least not at first. I think the original concept art had him as one, but then they transitioned to make him a standalone suit to carry things. Tony never wears Igor in the movies, so I have to wonder what LEGO could have accomplished with this build if the suit didn't have to be another Marvel mech suit. And compared to the original Igor build from 2019, the remake is certainly better with smoother edges, better use of decals, and rightly bulkier build. But was a new Igor build truly the driving force behind a 4th Iron Man Armory set? Not at all. LEGO Marvel is practically minifigure centric at this point, so let's talk about those minifigures. While LEGO really only advertises 2 new minifigures, there's a chance that Bricklink will list 4 out of 5 of these figures as exclusive to the set. The only direct reuse of a figure is the Mark 43 from the 2024 Age of Ultron sets. Now, the inclusion of this suit is a touch anachronistic, as by Iron Man 3, Tony had only finished up to Mark 42, the Prodigal Son, but that suit is nowhere to be found, and I would have really loved a remake of the 42 in this set, but from a business perspective, it probably makes more sense to just reuse 43. I get it would have taken up a fair chunk of the budget for the LEGO Marvel theme, but this is yet another example of corporate and financial interest diminishing the desirability of a LEGO Marvel set, essentially prioritizing more figures than better ones. But hold on, isn't the Mark 6 also a repeat figure? Yes and maybe no. The print on the torso, legs, and helmet are identical to the Marvel logo set, however, the head is different. The original uses a Tony Stark head, whereas this version uses a translucent blue head. So the question is, will BrickLink list this figure as a new version of the Iron Man Mark 6? There's a good chance of it, and that's another frustrating aspect of collecting LEGO Marvel minifigures. You have to keep track of all these minute variations. In fact, I run a spreadsheet that shows all LEGO Marvel minifigures, and some of them are pretty repetitive. And I am aware this is a very niche problem, so I'm not gonna ding LEGO for it. In fact, I'm pretty sure LEGO is smart not to advertise this as a new figure. Nor did LEGO make the claim that Pepper Potts is new, despite the figure having a unique hair color. Here's the older Pepper Potts from 2021's Ironmonger set, and here's the new one with a much brighter, bolder hair color. The new coloring choice does look nice and matches the character, though the outfit speaks more Iron Man 1 instead of 2 or 3. Again, if the budget allowed for a remake, I would have gone with Pepper's white suit from Iron Man 3. That would have been ideal. And I'm sure these financial and budget issues existed from the very beginning of the LEGO Marvel theme, but they've become more overt, more visible, and more detrimental to the theme as time's gone on. Now, Iron Man's laboratory does include 2 new figures with new prints, so how do they stack up? First up is the long-awaited remake of Aldrich Killian. The more suave hairstyle is a great choice and something I used in an earlier Fixing Marvel minifigure video. I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. The face though, I'm a bit more torn. On the one hand, I don't think the original glow-in-the-dark gimmick worked, but do I prefer an original flawed head over a ubiquitous generic one? This new head is found on Han Solo, Cedric Diggory, Icarus, and 2 Captain America figures. Look, it does the trick and probably keeps the cost of the set lower, but I would have gone for a lesser used face like Director Krennic. Whenever I'm making custom figures, I try to use lesser known pieces to make each character feel that much more special. The torso on Killian though certainly helps this figure value-wise. The bare-chested, extremis tattoo design I think succeeds. I love the scraggly dragon icons, and the two-tone fire gives the illusion of peering into Killian's chest. Now, blank legs are kind of a joke within the LEGO Marvel community, but if the new Killian figure is okay, if not a little bit of a letdown, the new Iron Patriot figure is fantastic. Technically, this is the first retail version of this roadie armor, as the original was an add-on exclusive to the LEGO Marvel video game. Now, I'm pretty sure some GameStops had them in stock in the front of the store, but they were pretty hard to come by. This remake Iron Patriot is a real bright spot with some incredible coverage of printing, fantastic color contrast with the brighter blue swatches printed on the dark blue torso. The pops of red and silver are wonderfully handled and not too overwhelming. The proportions of the design on the face mask are also spot on, with nothing too big or out of place. The additional light printing flows incredibly well and continues the level of detail for a cohesive look. The toe printing is just the cherry on top. This is the kind of figure that showcases LEGO's love for Marvel and the MCU, and it's unfortunate that these minifigures are often so few between, and costly. Speaking of which, let's talk about the value of this set. Looking at that retail price of $55, do I think it's worth it? Well, not really. Not for me, at least. I'm sure there's someone out there who doesn't have any of these characters and would love to nab all of them and Igor in one swoop. But as a longtime collector of LEGO Marvel, I don't think 2 new prints, one fine enough, one fantastic, is really worth $55. I'm sure Killian and Iron Patriot will end up on BrickLink soon for probably $15 and $35 respectively. Usually, you have to wait a few months for enough people to have new Marvel minifigures to bring the price down. So if you're stuck between spending $55 on the whole set or $40 on just the figures, you might have to wait a bit for that price to come down to grab the figures for a good deal. And I think the build doesn't really have much to hold value by itself. It's boring, been there, done that with the Hall of Armors. The majority of the figures are repetitive or slightly different enough to be called new figures. The new figures are good but not worth the price of the whole set, and I think even the new elements like Igor and the holographic arc reactor don't really inspire much interest from LEGO Marvel fans. Add to that inflation of higher prices, and I think $55 for the new Iron Man Laboratory Hall of Armors is a pretty bum deal. But did it have to be that way? I think for each time I'm critical about a LEGO Marvel set, I want to try and offer a plausible solution to make it better. Simply saying, I wish this set was cheaper and had better figures really won't cut it anymore and solves very little. LEGO, after all, is a business and is trying to balance keeping budgets and profits in check. But I think there was a relatively simple way to improve this set without changing all that much about it. Keep all the figures, keep the Igor build, but allocate the extra parts to recreate the dock battle from Iron Man 3. The theming fits, the figures can fight, Igor can be used to hold up scaffolding, Iron Patriot could be strung up like in the movie, and most importantly, this would give LEGO Marvel fans something new. While we've seen 4 Iron Man armories and Lord knows how many dummies in Iron Man suits, we've never seen the dock battle from Iron Man 3 in LEGO form. It could have been a really fun set with some pretty engaging play features like dropping scaffolding and Igor holding up the fort to let the characters fight it out. But what do you guys think? Would you spend $55 on this hypothetical Battle at the Docks Iron Man 3 set? I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.